good, everybody? Hope everybody is doing very well. Listen, welcome to a special edition of the Carlos Chambers Jr. Look, tonight we have an exclusive interview. It has been a few weeks since the unfortunate passing of Earl Simmons, known around the world as DMX, and we're joined tonight by one of DMX's long-term friends, someone who has been with DMX for a number of years, and tonight we have an exclusive interview tonight where none other than Charles Bonner, known as to everyone else's Big Prophet. We're joined tonight by Big Prophet, everybody. Big Prophet, how are you doing, brother?
Doing great, doing great. Good to be on, man. The Culture Show, man. Just glad to be here with you, Carlos. And man, just in spite of the moment, I know my brother's in a much better place, and so considering the circumstances, God don't make no mistakes. So doing pretty well.
That was a total shocker to us all, man. That touched the entire world, and so I'm so glad that tonight that we are blessed with your presence to
Thank you.
hear from you. Hopefully tonight a lot of people will be able to learn new things, learn more about who DMX was as a person, as an individual. So I certainly appreciate you and everything that you're doing. And my heart goes out to you, to your family, to your friends, ex's family, all of those that are impacted by ex's unfortunate passing. So, tonight, man, like I said, we've been talking over the past couple of weeks. So I appreciate the conversation that we've been able to have, and just the acquaintanceship. Let's just get right into it. Man. Are you ready for
Uh,
and what we have?
I'm actually ready. I think there may be a little bit of shortage on your end with the volume.
Okay.
I think you're coming in a little clearer now. I just
Okay. Is that better?
That is a little bit better. Yeah, I think it may be
Okay.
just a little shortage or something on that side, or the Wi-Fi. But I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, man. So let's just get right into it then, brother.
Right.
So man, it's a lot of stuff. As we know, I want people to know you. As I mentioned, you are a big prophet. I met you years ago when I
Yeah.
was in high school. Man, maybe it's been over 10 years now, and so you've always been someone that I've looked up to. And I've always kind of admired you as a person. You've always spoke great things over my life. Even 10 years ago, speaking great things. So I've always known you in that realm to be basically a person of compassion, a person of just what your name is, prophecy, and just a person of caring for your music. You lead the positive music movement. We'll talk about that a little later. But just kind of, if you will, Big Prophet, share a little bit about you. Just let us know who is Big Prophet. Like, where are you from, man? What are you known for? How long have you been involved in the music industry? Just kind of tell us who exactly is Big Prophet.
Man, well, it's just first of all, I'm honored to hear your side of the story, man, and the fact that you said that I had somewhat of a influence on you, man, because you've done a lot of great things yourself. Strict and I, when we was doing the strict cities back then, going into schools and so forth, we remember you as a young man and as a young entrepreneur coming up in the game and so forth. We call it game. I'm sorry, but whatever it is, you've done a lot of great things. I just want to say, man, kudos to you for what you've done in life and for making something great of yourself. We've always saw greatness in you, so big shouts out to you and whatever type of influence we were able to be. We thank God that you were able to see that in us as well. Me myself, man, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. My real name is Charles Bonner. That's my government name. But I came up, man, right here in Birmingham once again, known for many facets of life. I used to be a big drug dealer, one of the biggest drug dealers in the city. got busted, was facing 20 years in prison, wrote a letter to the judge. Judge Sandra Ross Storm, actually shouts out to her. She's RIP to her. She's gone now. And but she gave me an opportunity, man. She saw something in me, and she gave me an opportunity. What was to be a 20-year sentence in my life, she overturned it, and I ended up doing 6 months. And I kept my promise to her. I told her she'd give me an opportunity that I would come back and change lives, and I did that from the age of 16. I ended up owning 4 furniture stores. A lot of people remember the beds for less stools with the kids jumping on the beds, all that. And I ended up when I was about uh, coming into my early 20s, man, I had a brother named Joe Bonner that got killed, got shot in the back of the head. And I had got saved recently before that happened. But still some of that old me was in me in spite of me being saved. And I actually put a hit out on the guy, tried to hurt him and and so forth. And it didn't happen. And the guy came to me, man, and he met me at one of my stores. And I thought I was being slick, Los, and I was going to try to do something to him myself. And I don't know if you know how the furniture business goes, but the furniture business has ups and downs, and this is one of our down seasons when we usually have many customers. But this is how God began to reveal himself to me. First, it happened to me when I was locked up, and I prayed to God and asked God to give me another opportunity. He inspired me to write that letter to Judge Ross and use one of the guards that hated me to get the letter to the judge. And I always say that God will take your enemy and make him your footstool. So later on, when I got out and I owned these furniture stores, the guy met me at one of my stores, and because he wanted to convince me that he didn't kill my brother, though I know he did or had something to do with it. And when he came up to my store, man, my business was booming that day. Like customers was just flowing everywhere. And as the story went on, I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I ended up sharing stories with the guy and so forth. And when I let the guy leave my presence, God spoke to me. And he said, you know what, son? He said, it wasn't the guy that killed your brother anyway. He said, but it was the spirit that was operating through the guy that killed your brother. So God taught me that my war was not against the brother, but my war was on the devil, the spirit of the man. And so that really opened up my understanding and gave me the right visual as to what how I should take revenge on my brother's death. So instead of killing this brother, maybe I should kill the spirit. That way, that same spirit don't get into other young men or other people that are walking that lifestyle. Maybe I can bring
Wow.
change to that lifestyle. And
Wow.
so that's what the title War on the Devil, that's my whole first album, that classic album. Thank all you guys for making it #1. And that's what the name Big Prophet came from. God gave me the name. And I didn't know at the time that he was calling me as a prophet, but this is how everything unveiled. And my mission in life became love and forgiveness. And that's what started it all. So that's Big Prophet.
Wow. Wow, man, what a powerful story, man. And and it's just it's something about significant events happening in our lives
Mm-hmm.
that literally make things change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah,
And so but that's a powerful testimony, Prophet, and we really appreciate you for sharing that.
absolutely.
Let's kind of pivot a little bit into DMX. So, as for those that don't know, there's a lot that may not. You actually had a very close relationship
Yeah.
with DMX. My first question for you, Prophet, is how did you exactly get to know DMX?
Well, actually, funny story. Uh, in doing the ministry of Big Prophet, I went into a lot of the prisons and I did concerts in the prison. So I just told you my background as far as the streets and stuff like that. So my last name Bonner. So we're very known in Birmingham and Alabama abroad, for that lifestyle. I'll just say it that way. And a lot of the people in prison, a lot of the criminals kind of know us because we connect with other criminals to do the things that we were doing. I'm not to boast, but just to tell the story. But if you're anybody that's in prison or that has lived that lifestyle, when churches come to the prison, they're so familiar with it that when churches have church in prison, a lot of the so-called hardcore thugs, they don't come out. Usually it's the ones that are in church already and, really seeking God and so forth. But the thugs don't come out, because they like, I don't want to find God once I get to jail and however, whatever. But usually DJ Strick and myself, we had a show called Gospel Jams that was on 95.7. and that show played
Oh
in
yeah,
the Inside of the
I
System.
remember.
Very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of them were familiar with me from radio, and then a lot of them were familiar with me from the streets. And so the lifestyle that I lived in the streets was very different than the lifestyle I was proclaiming as Big Prophet. So they would kind of do like a promotion of sort when I came to the prisons to say, "Hey, Big Prophet is coming. He's gonna tell his story. He's gonna do his music. Blah blah blah." And then that would bring the hardcore thugs out that usually wouldn't come to church. This particular day, a young man, well, a brother by the name of Don Johnson. Now they call him. I said I'll never call him this, and I'll probably never say this again. But his name in jail was Big Nuts. I never called him that to his face, but he go by Big Dunny. But I met this guy. I did the concert in the jail, and in the prison rather, and he came up to me afterwards and he said, "Big Prophet," he said, "Man, you remind me so much of DMX." He said, "Man, I'm his bodyguard, good friend of his. One day I'm gonna take you to meet DMX." 13 years later, I had a concert in Talladega, and the guy came out to the church, and guy said, the pastor came up to me and said, "Man, there's been this guy here looking for you named Don Johnson." He wasn't even studying me during the concert because he was trying to find this guy that wanted to so adamantly see me, and I hadn't seen him in 13 years, mind you. And he go and he find him, and I'm on stage doing this concert. And once I got through ripping the show up and got down off the stage, the guy, he embraced me. Don Johnson did. And then he said to me, he said, "Big Prophet, you ain't gonna believe this." He said, "Tomorrow I'm taking X a contract." He said, he said, "God spoke to me and told me to take you with me." Now, this DMX we talk about, nobody comes to his personal house without him knowing you coming. But something touched this brother's heart about me that caused him to risk his whole friendship and bring me to his house. And when I met X, I came and I had this folder with all of my newspaper clippings of me on the front page of newspapers and stuff, just to have some solidification of who I am, that I wasn't just some cornball coming into his life. And DMX, he politely just closed that folder up and said, "Brother, I don't want to see none of this." He said, "Man, I want to get to know you." And that's how it all started. From that day forward, man, we were thick as thieves. We were like brothers from the gate. I gave him a pair of glasses that was dear to me. And he told me, he said, "Man," he said, "I know this is God." He said, "Because usually I'm the one doing all the giving, but you brought me a gift." And that's where it kind of started. I guess that opened up the dialogue of the fact that I wasn't coming in his life to take, but I was coming in to give.
Wow, that's very powerful, man. And that's how I guess the friendship between you and X began. So we see here's a photo from that I pulled from your Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
This photo here basically is your movement, the positive music movement,
Yes.
but it's DMX repping your movement.
Yes.
Kind of talk about that. Actually, talk to the people about what actually is positive music movement, and what was the significance with DMX getting involved with that?
Cool. So the positive music movement is actually a limb off of the tree of the AM/PM movement. That stands for altering minds through positive movements. So through ministry, education, community, all these different elements of life. The reason that we did this is if it's such a word, we want to positize. We want to infect everything that affects us in life. And it's a lifestyle change of all genres. And so music is one of the things that sort of brings the Thanksgiving dinner to the table, the turkey to the table, so to speak. So sort of if you have family members that you fell out with through the years or whatever, everybody comes to mama house for the turkey at the Thanksgiving dinner, and that's music. So that's the positive music movement. That's something I'm into, he's into, and music is that one thing that everybody relates to. That can bring everybody together, no matter what race, ethnicity you are, or whatever. So we decided to use music to bridge the gap to all of these other avenues. So our slogan is just all positive all the time, everything in life. So we wanted to begin a positive lifestyle through anything that we do. If you're the garbage man, all the way up to if you're the president, it doesn't matter. There's some way we can collaborate and bring positive to the community. And so X was very fond of that. He was very interested in things that I was interested in. Funny story. even my music. So everybody knows that I'm an artist. I'm a rapper. And to meet a person like DMX, the average person be like, okay, cool. I know DMX. He can put me on, blah, 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 blah. But X never even knew I did music. It was Dunny that came up to his house one time. I was there in South Carolina, and we were going out to shoot pool. Everybody that knows X love pool. And X got this Rough Rider truck that all the seats is taken out, and there's just speakers all in the back. So it's a two-seater, and it's like a Escalade short version truck. And so I followed behind him in my car. But Donnie asked me, he said, "Man, has X ever heard your music?" I was like, "No, man, it ain't about that for me. I'm not here for that." He said, "Man, give me one of them CDs." When CDs was out, and he put the CD in the truck. Now, the pool hall, Carlos, was only about 3 miles away from X's house. And by the time we got to the pool hall, he let his hatchback up and was bumping my music. He got out and he was rapping my music word for word, singing the songs. He loved this relief song that I did. It's out online out there if you guys can find it. Also, this song called Addicted that my wife sings on. He loves her voice in it, and he loves to kind of mime her and so forth in the song. So he never even knew I did music, man. So just, that's how so at that point, he was a little upset with me, sort of. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, "Prophet, let's walk the dog, walk the dog." So that's like, that means with X, come on, let's talk. So we walked the dog, and he said, "Prophet, you can't be, sowing into my life and helping me and won't allow me to help you. That's not fair. You got to, we got to exchange and help each other." So I was like, "X, I appreciate it." I said, "But that's not why God sent me, man. God sent me, to help you. Now, once we get you together, brother, and you decide out of your heart that's what you want to do, then we'll do that." He still didn't listen. The next day, shouts out to Dame Grease. He called me and he said, "I let Dame hear the music." Dame Grease is the one who did his first album, his producer. He said, "I let Dame hear the album, and we're going to sign you, and we're going to get you in the studio." And I was like, "No, we ain't trying to do that, man. Let's just keep the relationship where it is right now, man. Let's just get you where you need to be, and, man, let God just unveil the rest." But, man, that just shows how big-hearted he is. And just to talk about the positive movement, he wanted to be a part of anything that I was doing that he saw that he could add to, and he loved the whole idea of the movement.
Wow. That's phenomenal, man. And see, and that's the things that people really don't know. And I'm so grateful that, and even in the conversation that you and I had about just how God allowed you to be in his life, to spend so many hours, to be able to talk about those hours, those moments, those things that people don't know. And that's what tonight is, to kind of really humanize who Earl Simmons was, who DMX was,
Yes.
So I certainly appreciate that, man. Now, speak more about you all's relationship, because like I said, people didn't really know, or they don't know that you were involved in X's life the way that you were. So just speak a little bit more about his just who he was as a person. And then I'll follow up with something pertaining to Birmingham with X.
Cool. So with me and X, our relationship was very intimate. X and I, we spent real brother time together, even though my title was his spiritual advisor, which he gave me. And of course, before I met X, I was spiritual advising a few other celebrities as well, like Timo from Goody Mob. Started with Lil Zane, pretty much. Everybody remembers Lil Zane. Uwe Collins, which is Boosie Collins' son, and a whole host of other celebrities that I prayed for and mentored and different things like that. DC Curry, which is a friend of mine. Just the list just goes on. But God has really put me in the life of a lot of different people. But me and X's relationship was a little bit different. We were a little bit closer knitted. We spent a lot of time together. And you would always see me in the background. It was never nothing that I really promoted, because it wasn't about that. Once again, like when you see TMZ, you saw me in the background of that. And when he had the Fed case coming out of the courtroom, I'm in a lot of the stuff. If you look in the background, you'll see me there in support of him and what God is doing, because that's my role, to just overshadow and support him and to advise him spiritually. I mean, just the reverse of what the title says. And so in that, we had a lot of deep, in-depth conversations that he probably wasn't able to have with a lot of different people, when he can just unleash and be himself. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only person that he was able to do that with, because I want to give props to his day ones and people he's known for years in New York that's known him much longer than I have. I knew him for about 8 years, but it felt like 30. And anybody know X knows what I mean when I say that. But shouts out to those people that's been with him from the ground up, man. And don't want to forget that and leave those people out. People like D and Y from Rough Riders that had a lot of time to spend with D while I was there. Big shouts out to Craig, which is the executive producer, Jungle, which is his road manager, and a lot of other management that he's had along the way. Just want to say big shouts out to all those people, man, and the love that they've shown. And but our relationship was what it was. This is my story that I'm telling, and I'm sure everybody has a story, because X makes you feel close and genuine, because he's that type of a genuine person when he's talking to you.
Wow, and here's a video, man, of a recent interview that Fox 5 in New York, I believe, recently did, and there you are, right there. You're talking about, you standing kind of in the background, and just to put that in perspective, there you are, right there, just in the background, like just being right there, whatever is needed. You always was right there. So let's kind of transition into something else pertaining to you. You're from Birmingham. There was a celebration done in Birmingham. We'll get to that too. But let's talk about DMX. So DMX almost moved to Birmingham and purchased a home. Now, I'm not sure if anybody out there other than really yourself know that information. So talk about that experience. Talk about what happened. So him almost purchasing a home in Birmingham, but we realized that he did not. We know he did not purchase a home. What happened? What started that, and what ended up happening, the reason that he didn't. And then we'll also be showing a photo too of X in a special place in Birmingham.
Man, I want to say you made it easy, man, and you're doing a great job with this interview. First of all, I'm very comfortable in it, but I want to say that all of that occurred. I met him in South Carolina, and he was going through some rough times then. He was transitioning, and my wife and we had just moved to Atlanta kind of recently, and I moved him from South Carolina to Atlanta. And as he began to gather and get himself together, he was in good times and good space in his life. And he wanted to buy a home because he loved his cars. And, he's all about family and, just want to kick back. If Earl, once again, man, he's a homebody. He always spoke about when he's out and he's doing, clubs and stuff like that, his performances, that's his work. That's his job. But when he's relaxing, he's a homebody. He just like to sit home and watch movies. But I know we'll get into that. But the way he got to Alabama, of course, I'm from Birmingham. And, of course, that's one of the first places I thought. He said he wanted room. He wanted to be somewhere where he can, be in touch with the people, but kind of touch people as he wanted to. So I took him out to, is it Chelsea, Clear? What is it out farther than 280, a little further out?
Clear. Yeah, you got Clear and Chelsea. Chelsea, yeah, St. Clair County.
Chelsea.
Okay, Chelsea. Okay.
Back up on the hill there.
Yes. Further down 280.
That he loved. He was going to pay cash for. And but the young lady, she ended up selling the house to one of her relatives. But coming into Birmingham, I wanted, of course, for him to get the grand tour. So I stopped him by the 16th Street Baptist Church to show him some of the history, allow him to feel some of what was going on with Birmingham. The Civil Rights Museum was closed at the time, so he had a chance to check out the park. And I took him by Western Hills Mall. Shouts out to Western Hills Mall, which has been a supporter of Big Profit for years. A lot of people didn't know that's how I survived. Western Hills Malls, and every store in there would let me come in and sell my music, and they wouldn't have a problem with that, and so forth. So shout out to them. You got to excuse me. I like giving people their flowers while I'm here. And but I took him by Western Hills. He went in and he bought some things and supported the vendors and took his time with people, man, and just loved on people. And he did one thing that I didn't even ask him to do. He bought an Alabama hat. And so he's an Alabama fan as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Didn't know that. Roll Tide. Okay.
Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide. Okay. DMX is Bama fan. Okay.
And that ain't just because my wife went there, but I got to say Roll Tide either way. but he had a love for Birmingham, man, and he left a lot of love here. So I wanted to bring him back here to live here, but unfortunately we couldn't find a place for him in a timely manner for him to move here. So he ended up moving back to New York, which I moved him from South Carolina to Atlanta. Then I moved him from Atlanta to New York. Seemed like every time he moved, I was there.
Wow. So, wow, man. So the lady ended up selling the home, and that was the only reason he did not live in Alabama.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We almost had it.
Wow. Almost had it. Well, look, man, here's a photo. And I'll kind of make it a little bit larger for everyone to see. This is a photo of X. You mentioned that you took him by 16th Street Baptist Church. This is a photo of DMX right in front of 16th Street Baptist Church. Wow. So and man, so we certainly appreciate you for even showing him the history of Birmingham. A lot of people come through this city, but not oftentimes get to view the history, know the history, learn the history, or anything like that. So we certainly appreciate that, and we'll be sharing that to our Facebook page a little later today as well. So yeah, that's a very, very, very good photo there, and historic moment for you to be able to kind of share with him. So again, we appreciate that. And appreciate you for being able to share that moment with us too. So I know it's been a while, since a few weeks now since X's passing. How are you holding up? Just how are you doing? How is your mental health?
I mean, it's tough for me, brother, because anytime you have genuine love for somebody, your grieving process sometimes can stretch. And every day I just try to hold on to good memories, man. And I try to think back, because we had a lot of them. And I ain't gonna lie, we had a lot of tough ones too. But a whole lot of good memories, man, with each other, and just the love that we have for one another. So I like to often think back to those and different stories as I'm thinking about it. I even think about a story that my wife had. He and my wife fell out. We'll get to that somewhere in here if you ask that question. But my wife and him, they had a kind of rocky relationship at the start, but it fixed itself and eventually. But just stories like that makes me smile, because of the kind of person that he was. He was a person with a big heart, man. He just loved people. And so that helps me get through every day. And of course, as you know, I spent the last days with him. And so some of the conversations we had are comforting to me as well. And some of the things that he said to me were comforting. And of course, I just hold on to those moments, man. And that helps me move forward in life. And it's sort of like he kind of passed a baton to me by way of things that he had me doing over the 8 years that just sort of dawned on me all of a sudden. So it's like the light has just kind of came on now for me to get active and do the things that I'm doing right now that you're allowing me to do, and so many others I hope will allow me to do, because this opportunity gives me the chance to share his legacy and to show the ministry behind the man behind the music.
Yes, sir. No, I agree. And that's why, I wanted to afford, you an opportunity to really speak on whatever platform is available, because I believe that a lot of people deserve to know who he was. We listened to his music. We saw some of the things that he dealt with in his life, and the things that he's been able to accomplish in his life. So, we as a people want to know, we care about people that we care about, especially when what we perceive their lives to be taken way too soon, if that makes sense, or their lives going way too soon. So you kind of mentioned, Prophet, that you all basically had a very unique bond. So kind of talk to us a little bit more about some of those intimate kind of things that were just between you and him. Earlier, we were talking about something dealing with pickles. So just share some of those things that were pretty just intimate, but that was just really between you and him.
Well, as you said, pickles. One of the things that we always do from the start of our relationship, one of the ways we bonded and just kind of broke the ice on things, we go grocery shopping together. In fact, I was in New York during the time when all of this occurred, and that was one of the things that we did. I was about to mention something. We'll get back into that, but we went to the grocery store. I think it was about 2 days. I think you have some footage there, but about 2 days before this happened, we went grocery shopping, and we always go in and we buy pickles and we eat the pickles out of the jar together as we walking around and shopping, and we buy intimate donuts, which is something we love, the pies and donuts, the chocolate intimate donuts. And a lot of people don't know these things about Earl. If you're close to him, you'll know he loves to cook, and his favorite couple of his favorite dishes is crab claws or crab legs and spaghetti. He has a specialty for that, and I mean it's good. It's delicious.
Crab legs and spaghetti.
Crab legs and spaghetti. He
okay.
loves to cook that. He cooks that for everybody, that he meet and so forth. He's also a big 9-later fan. He loves 9-laters. He ain't gonna too tough sharing with you. He'll buy your own, but he is a sharing person. But he want to make sure you got yours and he got his. And Kool-Aid, one of my last things that we did, I was at the hotel and he called me over to his house, and I came with a big cup of ice because I knew it was gonna be a long night because we sat up and we talked all night, and it was sitting there on his coffee table at his house, and the ice began to melt. So we was up. It was probably about 3 a.m. by this time, and he said, "What you gonna do with this ice?" I said, and I saw some water on it. I thought he was talking about it was leaking on his table. So I took the cup and I drank the ice off of it, and I was about to sit it down. And he went and got some Kool-Aid out the refrigerator. Everybody knows he loved Kool-Aid with a lot of sugar. And he went and got him some Kool-Aid and came back. And he said, "Prophet, the ice. What are you gonna do with the ice?" So it dawned on me like, "Oh, he want my ice." I was like, "Oh, you want the ice?" He was like, "Yeah." So he didn't pour my ice in his cup. He took my cup, poured his drink into my cup, and drank my ice.
And drunk your ice.
just little things like that, man. Again, that just puts a smile on my face and just shows the intimacy of,
What flavor Kool-Aid was it?
It was actually that one was great Kool-Aid that night.
Great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we call purple Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Or red Kool-Aid.
Red Kool-Aid. Which one was his favorite?
I think red probably was his favorite.
Red was his favorite. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think red's probably the typical black kind of go-to when it comes to Kool-Aid, Exactly. So I think a lot of us share that with X.
Yes. So those are some things that people probably didn't know about him, that don't know him, but those that have met him and has got close to him, those are some things that you've been privy to. And I'm sure people that's watching this that know X, they're laughing right now and smiling like, yeah, definitely that. Yep.
Yeah. We have someone now that's laughing at that in the comments. So people definitely can relate, man. So you mentioned that you all basically kind of like stayed up some nights to 3:00 in the morning and things like that. What was one of your most deepest conversations with X?
Man. Some of my most deepest conversations was when X would talk about his family. And when I say his family, I mean his children. I mean his fiance. And he was ready to get married. He wanted to marry Desiree. Shouts out to my sister, Desiree Lindstrom. And he truly loved her, man. She was a different type of love. I know he's had loves in his life, but it was just different to him. And he would talk to me about some of those differences that he called her his angel. And so he was getting to the point, which I know you guys seen them get engaged for the second time. I think y'all saw, but I was there when he got engaged to her the first time, And so these are some moments that we really shared, a lot of those personal moments. And also when he spoke of his kids, man, he absolutely loved his children, man. And he just wanted, he would have been happy if he had a house, if you can imagine this, with the white picket fence and the big porch where you can put rocking chairs on it, and just a big yard with all his cars. He loved old cars, and he loved his four-wheelers. If he had a trail in the back and all his children, that's what he would have loved. And that's some of the deeper things that we spoke about him, his career taking him away from being able to spend intimate time with his children. And that was his legacy, man. And that was some of the things we talked about in some of the last days. as well. Those last conversations that we had as well.
Wow. Wow. And so how many children does he have?
I'm gonna say 15 for now.
15 for now.
Because it's kind of
Wow.
up and down. But now that we have if you count, I think it's 15. That includes Paige, which is his goddaughter. Y'all remember her from being the daughter on I forget which movie it was, one of those theater movies that was out, but she played his daughter, the one that got kidnapped. Paige is also on she's on the Ghost book, and she played Everybody Hates Chris. She played in that, and she also on the Oval, Tyler Perry right now. So shouts out to Paige, that's my niece, and all of his children. All of them call me Uncle Prophet. So shouts out to all of the children as well. And I love you guys.
Cool. Well, there you have it, from Big Prophet to the children. So, and what were the age ranges? So, I mean, obviously, that's 15 children who lost a dad. And so, what are those age ranges?
Now, I may not be exact. I think, but the age range from 1 all the way up to, I think Xavier is somewhere around 27 to 29, maybe somewhere in there. I could be wrong on Xavier's age, but it's right in there. It's right in there.
Cool. Okay. No problem. Thank you so much. So now let's kind of get into something that's kind of more along the lines of controversial, as it pertains to things from X's past that that obviously that no person would be too fond of. So, and I know a lot of people know X from his drug troubles from years ago, but people don't really know about X from the past few years since no longer being a mainstream performer. In the months leading up to his unfortunate passing, how did X deal with his struggles?
Well, let me cover the mainstream performer part first. X, he never stopped being a mainstream performer. And I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So,
well, what I mean by that is, like he wasn't. So he was probably doing 20 shows a week.
Right.
In his prime, versus now maybe 20 shows over the entire year.
Right,
So that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, definitely. But just to cover that, I've seen X, and you're right in saying he wasn't performing as much, and a lot of that was because he was taking time off for himself. And I heard you speak. I don't want to jump across the drug thing as I'm trying to cover it up or anything like that. But I do want to say this: X was very transparent about his struggles, and I think that's one of the things that we love about him, because that's a place that we all can relate to. My struggle, of course, I'm legally blind right now, and that's from diabetes. And we talk about that another time, but my struggle is sweets. And some of our struggles are women or men or drinking or whatever it may be. And, so we all have different struggles, but X wanted people to see that no matter what, that his struggle never stopped him from giving glory and praise to God. So he wanted people to know that his God was bigger than anything that he could have ever went through. I've actually been with Earl sometimes, and he probably wouldn't have money. All right. But it wasn't because he was broke or had to be broke. It was because he decided he didn't want to go do a show to get the money. So I would give him $100 or a couple $100, and some of the friends of his know what I'm talking about. But I would at the same time, I would see him turn down a show that he would make 20 grand on. So he wasn't a person that was driven by money. He lived in the moment. He took time off for himself and it's God, and he wanted to get himself lined up with that. And as you said, he wanted to face that demon head on. And one of his main scriptures was, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." So he lived that. He had BFW on his neck, meant built for war. So he was a warrior. So he was always fighting the good fight of faith all the way to his death. And so to answer that, I think I did. I think I did answer all of that. And that was kind of how he dealt with his struggle, man.
Okay. No. That's, and just, and that's much more powerful in a much more powerful way than a lot of people.
Yes.
So I think and I'm glad that I did ask, because people should know that too. That how that he did. So hopefully it will help someone else who's out there dealing with whatever the case may be.
Absolutely.
That just hearing that, hopefully someone else would be able to seek help or get
Yes.
the help that they need.
Yes.
Let's kind of move into a different direction. I want to kind of talk about his fiance. I know you mentioned her, but I want to talk about her in just a second. But before that, let me ask this. So you also mentioned, Prophet, that in X final days that you were one of the people to spend some of those final moments with him. What were those moments like? What type of things that were you all planning? What was the focus just of that ministry that you spoke of? And what was one thing that X was looking forward to doing? Just kind of bring that into his final moments that he those final days that he shared.
Well, a couple things I'll share and put out there. Of course, we talked about a lot. Just thinking of which route to go, because, of course, I have a lot of in-depth things to talk about that I want to save for later, as some more of the things unveil themselves. But I will say this. Again, as I said earlier, he was very focused on family. One of the things he said to me, he was like, he took a breath and he took a moment. He said, Prophet, he was like, it's one of the things that I remember best. He said, Prophet, I'm 50. He said, man, something's got to change. And I said to him, I said, brother, some things are changing. Some things are changing. Some things are going to change. He said, man, in this ministry, he said, we got to do this ministry. You got to help me do this ministry, brother. And he said, you got to be a part of it. And it makes me think back to some days prior before this happened, because, and I'll share this part with you. I was there a little bit of time before this happened, maybe about 5 days to a week, just right before Easter. He brought me up to spend time with him. And I were leaving. I was leaving to go home. Excuse me, I just had to gather myself. But I was leaving to go home, and I was actually on the plane. And they were getting ready to shut the door down on the plane. When you're on the plane, they shut the door down. And he and Desiree called me, and he was like, brother, don't leave. So I had to create a chaos to get off the plane. Anytime you start talking about you got emergency, they let you off that plane so you don't scare people. So they let me off the plane. My bag had to take a ride because I couldn't get it off the plane. So it was another 3 or 4 days before I saw my bag again. So that happened. 3 or 4 days later, I was about to go home again. And Desiree called me, and I kind of felt it. I said, he don't want me to leave still, huh? She's like, yep. And I can hear, he got on the phone in the background, like, yeah, brother, I'm still not ready for you to go. You're here for a reason. So I called my wife, and thank God for her. Shouts out to my wife, Kiana Bonner. I just love her so much for being in support of me, because in this ministry that I do, man, it could really be all over the place, and I can be away from her for quite some time. So I thank God for the spirit that's in her as well, and the support. But she agreed that I could stay. So I want to do things in order. So I stayed again. And in some of our last conversations, he was like, and brother, don't leave until I cook for you. Now, I knew that my flight was going to leave that Saturday, but I knew he wasn't going to cook until that Sunday, which was Easter. So he was getting ready to cancel another flight. So some of this stuff is kind of eerie to me as it relates to how it happened, because another one of the things that he did do, he always promised me that he'll let me take the whole ride with him. He'll let me see the change as he come into it. And we spoke about a lot of that. Again, I don't want to get into a lot of that. I want to save that for later, as I can talk about some more in-depth stuff. But Desiree, again, like I said, she was his heart, man. She was his angel. She's been with him, I think, since about 18 years old. So they've been together 10 years plus. And he just absolutely loved her, man. And he would always speak to me about her and how much he loved her. And then on those days, he was speaking about he was ready to get married, and wanted me to be a part of that as well, and and so forth. And but yeah, in Exodus, I can't leave my nephew out, man. He loved Exodus so much. He said Exodus. He called Exodus his heart. And he, of course, he loved all of his children. So I don't want any kid to feel left out because he loved all of his kids. But there was something definitely special about Exodus as well. And he had his thing about each child, but he called Exodus his heart. And I had a lot of time to spend with my nephew with Exodus as well. And because he said Exodus was a lot like him. So he felt like Exodus needed a lot of comfort and care and one-on-one. And so he wanted to make that union of marriage so that he can show that lifestyle to his son, because he actually lived with that particular child, and he wanted to start building a foundation from that to spread to his other children.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful, man. Everything you've said tonight has been powerful, man. And I'm just soaking it all in, man, to be able to just see who he was as a person, and know just the love he shared for his kids, for other people's kids, for you, for your family. So you mentioned his fiance. I want to go switch over really quick to her Instagram page. I want to share a video. This is a video, and I want you to kind of explain this video as we're showing this video. So this is video of exactly what?
2 days before.
We see you in the back right there.
Yeah. That was
So what's that? So talk about that video, Prophet. What's this? We see you in the background. Where are you all going? You in the back seat there. Where are you all going? What's going on? Talk about that for a second. And that's his beautiful fiance, by the way.
Yes, she's a beautiful young lady. That's my sister. That's Desiree. We were out that day, man. That was just 2 days before all this happened. It's amazing to see that video again. As you see, all of us were in high spirits. Me and nephew was in the back, Exodus is in the back, and that is the child that he named the new album after. I guess we'll talk about the album a little bit later. And as you see, Earl, he's dancing, he's into it. He's got some weight on him, so he's feeling good. He was making that shift, that change, and he was just feeling good about life, man, all together. And they had just picked me up from the hotel, and he had told me one of the reasons he wanted me to stay longer is because we hadn't had the opportunity to do that grocery shop. And so we headed to the grocery store, and we also stopped by a storage place where they were working on one of his old school cars and so forth. And we just spent that whole day together, and went out to his house after that and just hung out all day, man, and just spent family time as we always do.
Wow. So that's man. You could tell there that he was in very good spirits. They look very happy.
Yes.
As you said, I could tell he put on a little weight. And I know about that little weight you put on there.
Yes, sir, that love weight.
Yes, sir. That's it. That's pretty good to see, though. But I know we talked about her a little bit, but how is she doing? And we talked about his children, but how are they doing? I know this is very tough on them. How is she doing? Have you had any conversations with her? How is she holding up? How are the children holding up? What is that aspect like?
I talked to Desiree. It haven't changed even from the relationship with Earl. I talked to Desiree, if not every day, every other day. And I just want to say pray for her because she's dealing with a lot. This is a load for her. But at the same time, I want to give her shout out too, man, because I saw her tuck in a lot of things and deal with a lot of issues just right on the spot. That someone, Desiree to me, man, she's a jewel because for her to be so young, she's very mature. She's very smart. And she's just one of those rare jewels, man, that if you get an opportunity like Earl, and she's a lot like Earl, though. Let me, leave that out. And Earl's a very, very peculiar person. You have to know him to know what I mean, and to know Earl is to love Earl. You got to really know, what I mean? So, but she's like a girl, him really, but she's dealing with things, the way that everybody's grieving the way they grieve. I just want to say all the family, the uncles, the mother, shouts out to his mom, all the families dealing with it the way they feel with it, but particularly to Desiree, she's been very strong, man. And I seen her through this whole process. She's had to cater to everyone else, be strong for all of the, I want to say baby mamas. I've been already lashed at people on the internet for calling the kids' moms baby mamas. So the mothers of his children. I got it right this time, right here on the Culture Show. But and on Strict City Show too, I think. But I see. But as far as the children has really dealt with it well as well. So shouts out to the moms. We've done a lot of praying with them. And one thing I don't want to leave out, shouts out to Craig Broadhead, Steve Greco, and Swiss, and all of the people that was involved, whoever they were. I don't know particularly, but I just remember seeing and hearing these people in conversations, Rough Riders. We had an opportunity to bring all the mothers of the children and the children together for the first time. And man, it was awesome to see all of them come together, and they would be hugging on each other. My brother, my sister, all the ages, and just loving each other. And they were entertaining at Earl's house, which was, Desiree's home. And she had to have, if you guys could just think about it, I'm going to kind of go off the record a little bit, but anybody that knows, usually mothers of different children, and if you know Earl at all, or how children are conceived and this and that, there's a lot of, stuff in the air, if you know what I mean. And
trust me, I think we know what you mean.
Yeah, she dealt with it like a champ, bro. She embraced everybody, loved on everybody, invited them into her home. The children got together and so forth. And I seen the children go through a roller coaster ride, even during the time he was in the hospital. And I just want to say this, since we at this, man, it's okay. I know entertainers and celebrities or stars to us, and we look at that and we want to, get likes and different things like that. But one thing I didn't like that I saw, I was there with the children every day. And it was hard during the time when he was in the hospital and people started putting up stuff on social media talking about, oh, he's alive now and he's breathing, and oh, now he's this and now he's that. I don't think people realize that his children have cell phones, and they were seeing these posts and so forth. And they would come to me and others around them, and they was like, Prophet, why are they saying this about my dad? And, what's really going on with my dad? So we don't understand that these celebrities are still humans. So please, check yourself and be careful when you want to run to Instagram or Facebook and just get likes and posts just because you want to be the first one to say something.
Yep.
Realize the effect that you're having on the lives of these people's children as well. I want to put that out there.
Yeah, man. And, it's sad that this is where we are in this social media age.
Yes.
Where people, are much interested in being the first. I got to be the first to post this. Got to be the first,
Right.
Instead of, helping, we want to pull out a cell phone and record. But that's a whole different story, man. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and I know so many others out there that are watching also understand and know too what you're saying.
Yes.
So just speaking on that time, so let's keep it kind of right there. Speaking around the time the children were at the hospital, with their dad. I know that X has a lot of friends around the entire world. What type of celebrity support was at the hospital during the time that X was there?
You're a great interviewer, man. You put me on the spot with this one. And me being who I am, I got to tell the truth. I'll just say I didn't see for myself, maybe a handful, and I won't even name the names of the handful that I saw. But let me give balance to it.
You got to give us one of them. You got to give us at least one name. You gotta give us at least one name.
Um,
Who was one person that you saw that was there for X when he was in the hospital?
um, dang on it. He'll kill me if he saw me right now and I didn't know his name right off. Having a brain freeze. So what's the brother? I think Method Man came through. What's his name? Yeah. What's his name? With the braids, it's cut off now. Oh my God! See, this is what happens when you're on the spot. I'll think of it before.
Okay, yeah, we'll come. So we'll go with Method Man. You said Method Man came through.
And a few others.
Okay.
I'll say D was there from Rough
Exhibit.
Riders.
You talking about Exhibit?
Not Exhibit.
Not Exhibit. Okay.
This is your fans helping me out. Thank you, fans.
Busta Rhymes. We got
Rhymes.
okay.
He was there.
Okay. Busta Rhymes. Okay. Eugenia Williams said Busta Rhymes. Okay.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Miss Williams. Who was it?
Eugenia Williams. Miss Williams. Yeah.
Okay. And your audience is so being so supportive and nice. Any questions that they have, I'll try to answer for them. If you like to take questions from your audience as well, but I will say the people that needed to be there were there. The family was there. Shouts out to Uncle Ray, his mom, his cousins, of course his fiance. D from Rough Riders was there often with us. Craig Broadhead, Jungle, a lot of his friends, other family. Was it Godson? What is it? Am I saying this right? Quite a few people were there, man. Shouts out to my homeboy AB, he was there. Just quite a few people. A lot of fans were riding around. It was kind of eerie hearing the music being played all around me. You know, having a personal relationship with him, and then all of a sudden hearing his music day in and day out because the fans were sending up spirits to him and encouraging him, just playing his music all around the hospital. That was awesome to see. Stephanie, all like I said, all the family and friends were around there, and those that wasn't able to be there, they sent their support. But let me give a balance to the celebrity thing because I don't think people understand this sometimes. This is what I do respect about some of the celebrities. I feel like I didn't hear this from their mouths, but I feel like a lot of them didn't show because of kind of what another brain freeze. What's his producer name? Dang on it. Swiss. Another thing what Swiss said. Swiss was talking about, he don't, we giving roses after you're dead and stuff like that. A lot of the celebrities, they didn't have certain type of relationships and stuff. So it probably really, they didn't see the need to all of a sudden be there all of a sudden. A lot of them wanted to be out of the way and they understand that that's an intimate time for him and his immediate family. So I don't want to make a big thing out of the celebrities not being there. But on the other hand, it does, and I'll say this too. I had an opportunity to really spend a lot of time with my brother Craig, and we got to really get close and so forth. But shouts out to T.I., Miss Deb, which is another person that I mentor from time to time or speak to spiritually. That's Waka Flocka's mom. Waka's another person that I spoke to and prayed with and so forth. Who else? Jamie Foxx called, Forrest Whitaker, and many other celebrities called. I'm probably leaving out names, I'm sure. But I just thank the celebrities for whatever their reasons were for sending their love and support. I just want to say thank you to all of them. And please don't allow me to leave out the fans, the support, even the people on what we call the local level that just love X, man, because X never really met a stranger. If you know X, if he met you for the first time and there's a celebrity or whatever, or a news person walk up to get his attention, he would ask them to wait while he give you your individual time, and he make every person that he was in front of feel like they've been his friend forever, and he meant that. He loved his fans, he loved his family and his friends and so forth, and that's just the type of big-hearted person that X was and is.
Wow. No, that's what I see, man. That's what I'm learning more about who he was. And I could tell, even just seeing videos of him. And we're getting ready to show, speaking of videos, getting ready to show a video when he did an interview. He sat down and he kind of talked about some things on Big Boy TV where he talked about his recovery and he teased some new music. We're going to show a few different videos. One, where he actually he spoke about wanting to be a pastor. And then we're going to watch another video right now where he was actually kind of giving a little bit of testimony here. So let's see, let's go ahead and cue that video. But so it's just good to know that he lived a life that a lot of people wouldn't even recognize and wouldn't even understand.
Absolutely.
And so even from what people perception, even it goes to show that oftentimes what your perception are of a person is not necessarily the reality of who this person really is. So, so I appreciate that. So we're going to show this video really quick. Then we'll kind of discuss it in a few moments.
Absolutely. Do you feel like, I remember at one point, X, they were saying like, man, down the road, you said that you would like to be a pastor, which you kind of are now. Right. You know what I'm saying? But is that something that you feel like, man, I think that's still in you?
Yeah. Not regular formal way, traditional form, ministry, but I do that now. I do that now. Just start a conversation. Next thing you know, I got 20 people. You said just listen. With two more gathered. So let's see, praise God, look, big prophet.
Yeah, let's see.
Right on top of my ministry. That's a sign right there. I'll call you back. That's pretty.
Wow. Hey, at times, man, when we sitting in the crowd and we chant DMX, right? Were there times when it just got so bad for you? I'm not talking about just like being incarcerated, getting pulled over, or whatever. But where
so
it was just so bad that you
that was video of basically X answering a question. He's answering the question of X. So there's one time you're thinking about being a pastor, and then literally, like in that same moment, he's answering that question. His spiritual advisor, you the person that we're calling him, you the person that he's talking about. I got to call you back.
Right.
What was that like? Speak about that, man. Did you know that you were calling him while he was doing an interview?
Absolutely not. I've never done that. And that's not the first time that's ever happened. That's just the first one that's got caught on television. That was some of the things we would talk about. And I think some of the things that would ensure him that we were in this walk together, that's just a God thing. In moments when he would be in a place of ministry or so forth, I would call in support of him doing that in those times, considering other times he would be doing probably some other things. We don't know. But he would always say that he loved when I'm around because I brought the pastor out of him or the preacher out of him. And that particular time was just kind of ironic. And so it were many times like that, though, in hindsight, that we would discuss that he would tell me about, and other times when I would either call and he'd pick up the phone when he was ministering to somebody, and I get to jump in and minister to him with him. He'll put me on the phone. Just things like that, that people never knew was just between he and I, that we shared together, that just kind of let us knew God was showing us that we were in this path together, man. It just kind of bonded us together even more.
Wow. And so speaking of that, because, you all obviously were working on a lot of projects together. So what does that mean for the movement now that you've lost your brother? What does that mean for the movement and the ministry that you all created?
As I said, that week before, when I got to his house, before all of this happened, this tragedy happened, he used to always tell me, there was a time when he didn't like people filming him. Excuse me. He didn't like people recording him. He'd take pictures with you, but he'd ask you not to record him. I never knew what that was for. I never even chose to give a lot of deep thought to that. But he would tell me to never stop recording because he just automatically knew or even God had this thing where he knew where I was in his life and he trusted me to do that. And the things I would record was always the times when, because as we know, television interviews that we've seen on X always put the camera on them when it's something troublesome or him acting a fool or doing something out of character. They would always focus on that. But he knew I would always focus on the times that they didn't show, which were the times when he was ministering and giving and helping people and getting people saved and all these things. So he always trusted me to continue to record. He told me to record everything. But that week when I was there, he had his fiance Desiree. He had did his first sermon at this church, and I wasn't there. But he made sure that she sent me the footage because in the back of his mind, he just knew I was collecting all good things Earl Simmons. And he never questioned me. He'd say, Prophet, what you doing with the footage? When you going to put it out? He never, out of our 8-year relationship, never once questioned me about that. So that week before not Thanksgiving, but that week before Easter, I was there. And I said, Earl, you know, Easter coming up. And I looked at that first sermon video you put out. And I think that's a great video for us to put out on Easter. And man, he gave me the biggest smile, like he wanted to just jump up and hug me. And unfortunately, he passed before that, but I kept my promise. Shouts out to DJ Vlad, man, for supporting me on this. I put it out on my YouTube, which is the Positive Music Movement page. And then DJ Vlad put it out as well. I think it's about 100,000 views now that actually get a chance to see Earl do a whole sermon and counting. But we put that out. And so there's other footage, though, that I have archived, 8 years worth, actually, that I'm just petitioning God on things to do with it and stuff like that. And maybe we'll see a documentary of some sort, maybe DMX walking by faith with Big Prophet, or I don't know. You know, if y'all got some ideas, you know, help me out. But maybe I'll shoot that to TV One or BT, or, you know, Rough Riders. I'll definitely get with my boy Craig Broadhead or something and just see which route or direction I may need to go with that. But I think that's some footage that people need to see, and it'll really give you a close view and a backstage look into the life of Minister Earl Simmons.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Prophet, I want to show some video here. This is video that we also grabbed from your Instagram page.
Okay.
I believe, so in this video, you said that DMX was washing your feet. So kind of talk about that. This is part of what you're talking about with footage that you just have of X,
Yes.
you know, and the person that he was in that moment of never stop filming. So what exactly is this video before we actually watch it?
Well, that's funny you found that, man. Boy, you do your research. This particular video a while back, what was the name of the video thing that was popular before Facebook?
Periscope.
Periscope. So I had a Periscope, and I had quite a few followers on this. And this is the first time. This was when X wasn't going live. He wasn't into the internet and all that stuff. And I was at his house right there, his other house before the one he moved into now. And we did this. We usually do these sacraments things that we do according to biblically, where we would light candles and just do things that just kind of get us in the mode of God and bring in the atmosphere and so forth. You know how we do it as Christians, and just setting the tone. And this particular day, because Earl is so humble, man, and this was an act of his humility. We always anoint each other in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, and pray for each other. And these were just personal things that we would do to show, you know, our humility towards one another and how much we love God. And just a side note, even though I'm known as his spiritual advisor, I used to call him my pastor or Minister Earl, you know, and to encourage him as well. And not only to encourage, but I really felt that way because I knew someday he would get to that point. And not only someday, but even as I was walking with him, even though he felt like he was learning a lot from me, I was learning a huge bit from him. So we were helpers of each other. He actually prayed for me, prayed for my eyes, you know, my eyes came back in, and, you know, different, prayed for, you know, my different illnesses and different things in my life, prophesied to me, and I've saw things come to pass. So he was definitely a prophet as well. But that particular video, man, in that humility, he was anointing my hands. And I think he actually prophesied to me this day too. And he anointed my feet. And the funny part of it is, I don't know if y'all can see it clear in the video, but I go to anoint him, and I said, I'm gonna anoint your feet. And he pulled his feet back. No, brother, we're not gonna do that on TV. So it's kind of a funny video because we both got them rough feet. I don't want to just put it on my brother, but we both got them toes we behind. But yeah, so that was kind of that video. And the awesome thing about that is right there on live Periscope, he also did sort of an altar call, a call to God for those that wanted to give their life to the Lord right there on Periscope. So that's the setting for that video.
Wow. No, man, I appreciate that. We're gonna we're gonna cut the audio on.
Okay.
So that people can actually hear it. Well, here we go.
Well, it's kind of sketchy. You know, Wi-Fi was a little timid back then.
Okay, it won't let us play the audio. We'll try to read this. Okay, let's try to do it again. But I did want to. I want our audience to hear at least some of the audio. Yeah, it's not allowing us to play the audio for some reason.
They can watch it on my. It's on my Instagram. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. It wouldn't let us play the audio. So,
they could go and watch it on. I think it's kind of down in my page a little bit on Instagram, or if you want to put it up on Culture TV, man. However they want to get to that, but my Instagram is The Real Big Prophet, and that's prophet like prophet of God, PROPHET. You can find that on Instagram or my Facebook, Big Prophet Charles Bonner. But you can find that on both of my pages and watch it. It's a little sketchy once again because it was Periscope. Wi-Fi was a little itchy back then, a little timid, but you can still get the point of the video.
Yeah, and we're putting up your Instagram information now so that people will be able to know exactly. Follow Big Prophet on IG at The Real Big Prophet.
Yeah,
man, it's been a pleasure tonight, man. I got a few more questions I want to kind of get to. We're kind of wrapping things up here. So, what was life like for you serving as a spiritual advisor to DMX?
I would go back and do it all over again. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was an honor for me to serve him and to be served by him. He's such a giver, such a loving person. He made it easy a lot of times. Don't let me sit here in front. A lot of times it was rough too, because everybody knows Earl's personality. He's very aggressive. The way you hear him in his music, he's just like that in the natural. He's very challenging. You just can't tell him anything. He's going to challenge it. So he challenged me to go and get before God a lot. Let me just say that. He kept me on my knees before God, but it's made me a better me, and it made him a better him, and we both shared that one to another. So it's been an honor to serve him, and I love him and always will love him, and I'll continue to carry his legacy to the day that I die.
Wow, no, that's powerful, man. And even before we were talking about how you are spiritual advisors to other people. Yes. So I hope the work that you were able to do with him, you're able to kind of continue on in other people. So, Godspeed to you, brother. I really appreciate that. Also, so you were in New York at the time of his death, and because we actually did a celebration for you in celebration of X's life in Birmingham. Why was that important to you?
Because, again, I'm from Birmingham, and I want to say shouts out to Pastor Beavers. I want to say shouts out to, you can help me on this, Carlos, because you was there and helped me on this. I want to say shouts out to the city of Birmingham, the mayor, all of them, Sid Sparks, everybody, because you really helped me pull this thing off. All of us teaming up and showing unity and doing this. Pastor Beavers opened up his church. Corey White helped me at 98.7, 95.7, and New York. She did the interview, and man, just everybody, Summit Radio, and all the people that played a part. Frank, Frank Matthews for giving his input on everything, And I just love all you guys, man. And I love the fact that you guys came together for this one unifying cause. But it was important for me to do it in Birmingham. And shouts out to the Rough Riders for coming out as well, because this is my home. And again, the reason I want to do it at a church is because I don't want to scald the churches or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But this brother proclaimed Jesus Christ on every stage, every concert he did. He prayed before, after. Anybody who knows X knows he absolutely loved Jesus. I guarantee you, there's no place that we can go and be out. And Craig, he'll be a witness to this. Anywhere that we go, there will always be somebody to come up and say, "Man, I got saved because of you. I changed my life because of you. My kids have a mother because of you. I got off of this addiction because of you." And his life actually showed God in and out. And so because of that, man, a lot of people's lives were changed. And I just didn't see a lot of churches come to his aid. So I think Pastor Beavers, I wanted to set a forum for that, for them to come forth. And they did. I don't know what the reasons were. I'm not against calling the churches because we're all one body and so forth. But I just want to show the churches that we should stand for people like this, because we all have issues that we're going through. And in fact, even us as pastors, ministers, we're going through just as much as any other regular person. So if it's really about God, we got to start putting aside our differences, man, and let God be the prominent factor and the center of everything that we do. We got to let people see there's no disciple in that Bible that didn't go through something that God still used. So I beg to differ when people say God can't use you because you're going through, because that's a lie. God used every person in that Bible, man.
Absolutely.
And I want to say to your audience, God will use you too. If you're going through something, God will use you. Now, I'm going to also give you a balance. I just can't leave that out there like that. Now, I always say the word will either draw you or drive you, so either you're going to come willingly or unwillingly, So God, the Bible says that the work that he started in you, he's going to finish. Now, here's the deal, though. Now, you're not going to get any of the benefits if you're disobedient, or you'll get very little benefits, like, the good life that comes behind it, the good health and all that. But you're going to be used because God is going to use you. Now, it would be, in my opinion, the best thing for you to do is to be obedient so you can get all of that instead of to be used by God or go through those struggles and die a harsh death. So that's the balance I want to give to it.
Yes, sir. Man, I see why you are the spiritual advisor for DMX. Man, look, you gave us some spiritual advisors around here, my brother. Man, I appreciate it, and it's well needed. It's very well needed. So one of my final are you willing to do other podcasts and interviews with networks and hosts? And if so, who are some of the people that have reached out to you? Because I know somebody out there has already reached out to Big Prophet to try to get, some of your words. And I really appreciate you for sitting down with us here on Culture TV exclusively. Yes. And just to remind everyone, this will be up on our Culture TV app on both Roku and Fire Stick later tonight. So you'll be able to watch this on your television any moment throughout the day. So please make sure you let your friends and family know. But talk about that, man. What are you willing to do more interviews? And who are some of the people, if any, that have reached out to you?
Well, let me just say, I don't want to give out all the secrets, but quite a few of all the major networks are reaching out because they're finding out who I am and was in this life. And they're wanting this story, that you're getting here, and some of the things, I'll try to save a little bit for everybody, but you got quite a bit here today. But quite a few of the major networks have reached out, and I just want to say thank you to a lot of those that you all have been seeing, like 95.7 and 94.9, Chris Coleman and his network and so forth, and Culture TV, and Rolling Stones, and a lot of these big networks. I haven't even done their podcast yet, but there are many to come. And I just want to let people know that I don't care how big or small you are. Again, in some of our conversations that Earl and I had in the last days of his life, he really wanted to get his ministry out. And I feel like one of the reasons I was in his life was to further the ministry part, help him further the ministry part in him. And so I'm going to keep my promise and continue that. So no matter how big or small your podcast is, please inbox me on Facebook, Charles Bonner, Big Prophet, or on my Instagram. Direct message me, or holler at Carlos, and he'll get the message to me, and so forth. And don't matter how small your podcast will be, because I want to say this: this actually helps me. Talking about this really gives me comfort, and allows me to, as we went through the day, a lot of things I had forgot about. So you jogging my mind and helping me to go into that good place and to be able to uh, minister some of the things that he and I done and times that we shared and so forth and so on. So it's helping me with my grieving process. So please get at me. I will do as many podcasts that I can do in a timely manner and share my stories and so forth with DMX, Earl Simmons. And so anybody, please get with me, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to do your podcast or your radio show or your news article, whatever, and so forth. So I would love to do that. So I welcome all comers. Thank you so much. And if there's anybody, I don't know if you're getting questions in your feed there, but if we got time, I'd like to answer some of their questions as well. I know
Yeah, we do have a few questions. Yeah, we do have a few questions, and we'll get to those in just a second. So I want to show this video here, and then I want to kind of we'll show a couple seconds of this video from the memorial service when he was laid to rest. Okay. And once we're going to show a couple seconds, then we'll come back on the flip side and kind of talk about it. So this is a special moment at DMX's memorial service.
Song that Earl sing with his family all the time. I'm gonna do my best with this. I don't want to look bad, but I'm gonna need y'all help. He never put out. When he was happy in his spirit, that's where you can help me with this. We always song. Pray, 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 hallelujah. Pray for y'all. Pray.
So that was a few seconds of a song that you and I were talking about earlier. Yeah. Kind of talk about that. What was that hearing that you were leading with the family and friends?
Well, Carlos, actually, what you have there was me making a fool out of myself for Jesus. What you just played. However, though, I don't mind doing that. He said, take the foolish things of the world to confine the wise. There were three things that happened that weekend: Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So Saturday, the Rough Riders put on a thing at the Barclays Center, which you guys seen, and Nas and the Locks and Eve and Rough Riders. Everybody was there and memorializing him there. That's when y'all seen him come out on the big truck and seeing all the Rough Riders. Shouts out to them. Do the big convoy all the way to, I guess that's the right word, my GED showing up now. But we did that and all the way to the Barclays Center. Shouts out to Swizz for the ideal of the truck and the casket. Sunday was the private funeral that the family and friends came to. A lot of celebrities and so forth, as far as and well as friends and family was there. Shouts out to Lil Kim and Alicia Keys was there, and Kevin Liles, and a lot of the record label execs, and the pastor for opening his door and allowing us to have it there. Also want to recognize Mama Lorna, which was his prophetess, and Pastor King, which was his pastor. We were the three amigos that were in his life, amongst a lot of other pastors and so forth that also spoke into his life as well. But Pastor King had an opportunity to do the eulogy on that funeral, and Mama Lorna, she did the comforting words, and I did the prayer on BET. That's the funeral that was on BET. So following that next day was Sunday, which was the graveside service. That's the ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And when we actually at the burial, and us three, we did that as well. That's us standing there together. And that song that you hear us singing was a song that's personal to Earl, myself, Desiree, and his son, and those that would be around. Anytime that we would come together and end, uh, maybe we'd be ministering and it'll get deep, and we would use that to break up the monogamy or to start off what we were going into, just to usher God in once again and to bring us into a place of joy. And that's the song. Maybe I'll make a song out of that one day because I actually have him recorded doing that, using his voice or something like that. But that's a great. Thanks for showing me acting a fool on national TV right there. Appreciate that,
No,
brother.
man, look, man, no, that's powerful because that's a moment that a moment that you and X shared that
Yeah.
you able again to share with them, So that's a powerful moment there, man.
You know, I don't mean to
Yeah.
cut y'all, but I'm guessing, seeing that you've done all your research, I'm guessing you probably got the footage on Drink Champs too, the one where he read off the text, what that he did with Noriega. You have
So
that too?
actually, I believe that I do. So we'll let's see here.
I figured you
Uh,
would. That was
let's
a
see
pretty
here.
touching one. I've been looking for that one.
Let's see. I think I did do some research and found this video. Is this the one here?
Let's see.
That's beautiful. Shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I be telling about the dreams I have sometimes. Wow. And then I interpret the dreams. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to interpret others as well, you know what I'm saying? And we just cool. It took us a long time to get there.
You believe in dreams? He's interpreting them. I'm not talking about like when you sleep and like you get that type of dream. Something else. Oh, really? So, and how do you interpret like what's your for that?
Because I can see what's going on in my life at the time. And then I interpret a dream, and then you'd be surprised. Today, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine called Big Paul, he put the stamp on it. The stamp, he confirmed it. Where I got a over text that said, peace, brother. God is going to send you an angel through your dreams. And I already called the shit about the dream. And that shit is crazy. It's crazy. Bang. Hey, brother, love you, man. Miss you. Hey, God told me to let you know he's going to send an angel to you through your dream. Also, I want you to know that you're a mighty hero. There's a Goliath killer on the inside of you. Stay strong. I love you, man. God bless.
Okay, the Goliath killer part. What does that mean?
A Goliath killer.
Goliath killer, yeah.
I can kill the giant.
Oh, wow.
I can kill the giant.
I was like, yo, I said something
Wow.
about a bad dream.
Wow.
So I had a bad dream and I hit. And he said something.
You have to send me that one. I've been looking for that one. That was
Okay.
a pretty touching one. That was a pretty touching one there. That one, I had sent another one of those, ironic moments. That was one where I had sent God woke me up one morning early, and I was very, very careful about sending him giving him messages that only God would give me, and not getting emotional and including my thoughts to it. And I would always separate the two for him. I would tell him when God is talking and when I'm talking. And that one right there really hit home with him. That was one of the ones. And God told me to tell him that he had a Goliath killer on the inside of him, and to let him know that he can defeat anything, that posed itself as a giant to him. And he really took to that message. As you see, he felt the need to read that message out, even in this interview that he did with Noriega. Shouts out to Noriega too, man. He said some other things in that video. If y'all get a chance to watch it, it's again kind of eerie. His video was only a couple months before he died, but he took a moment and he really got their attention. And he said to them, he said, I just want you to know, if I die today, and Noriega was like, no, ain't nobody dying. He was like, no, listen to me. He was like, if I die today, I want people to know that I live the best life that I could ever live. And he was confident in knowing that he had got it right with God. And he was beginning to show that more and more in his everyday lifestyle. And that was some of the last conversation that we had as well, that he spoke like that, that he knew that he was at a peaceful and pleasant place if it was ever time for him to go home. And unfortunately, but fortunate enough, now I think he's in that place.
Wow. Well, Prophet, man, it has been such a pleasure. Um, I've appreciate you tonight. I've appreciate, what all you've shared with us, honoring the life of DMX. I really appreciate tonight, my brother.
Thank you.
What are you up to next, man? What's next for you? I know you're still in the grieving process, and just to you, grieving looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
And and I know you all shared a lot of moments together. And there's a void in you that is now unfilled. And so just hang in there, keep your head up, and
Yes.
just know that X, his legacy lives within you.
Yes.
You are his legacy.
Yes.
You are, what he wanted to happen moving forward, and that's why he had you around during those times.
Yes.
So what's next, my brother? What can people look forward to? Just tell us any final things that you would really like to share with us tonight.
Well, for Big Prophet, it's going to be the same thing, even before time. What I'm doing is just consulting God, spending a lot of time in the face of God, as I've always done, even more so, taking care of my health so I can be around. Again, as I said, I feel like a torch has been passed to me. And I think I'm not the only one that feels that way, even to his fans, his friends, his relatives. Earl left a piece of him. He was so big that he had enough breadcrumbs to give all of us a piece of it, even as Jesus shared his blood and his body at the table with the disciples. And so I think he's passed his legacy to all of us. So I think the more we can unify, I think we can take lessons from Earl, man, that can transform the world in a mighty way, and we can finish up what he started. Just as Moses passed it on to Joshua. So not just to me, but to all of us that's listening and watching, please share this video worldwide. This is not about views. This is about God. So if you've ever done anything, this video, the Strict City video, any of these videos, please share the legacy of this man of God, because that's what he is and was. He was a prophet to the nations, and had a lot to share. And so we want people to boot up, man, and get out and share that legacy. And that's what I'll be doing as well. And again, like I said, just seeking God for the next moves to make. You should see a lot of that video footage and audio and things like that coming out that you never heard, seen before. And you'll see me just moving in that direction, and also just cultivating the AMPM movement, the Altering Minds Through Positive Movements, which is not mine. It's not about Big Profit, but it's a movement about the world, about making everything, about us infecting everything that affects us. That's what it's all about for me. That's what it's been about for me all the time. And we're going to continue the legacy of God through that.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. That's it from Big Prophet, man. We've heard from the legend, Big Prophet himself, spiritual advisor for DMX. Hey, Prophet, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, this will be up on Culture TV apps on both Roku and Amazon Fire, and maybe another 30 minutes to an hour or so. But people will be able to watch it from there on out, from anywhere you are, as long as you have that app. So we appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for sharing so much light into the life and legacy of DMX. Yes, sir.
Hang out while we answer the questions of your viewers there, or
Yes. So we had a couple of questions here. So let's go through those real quick. So one, Eugenia asked, she said, what happened between him and your wife?
I'm gonna tell a little bit of that story, but we got to get my wife on to tell that story. So I'll try to tell it as quick as possible. So when I brought X to Atlanta, my wife and I, we had like a little condo type of apartment situation, a little 1-bedroom type of situation, and I brought X into town, and I didn't let her know that I was bringing him to the house. And I brought him to the house, and X had two big dogs. Everybody know X loved his dog. So he had Booty, which is the big Press Canary, and he had this dog X, which is a problem. He'll tear up anything. And tore up my truck, matter of fact. But and it would tear the walls out of the hotel. We used to have to pay for hotel rooms. But my wife came home from work one day when Earl came to my house, him and Desiree, and we went out to get something to eat or something and left the dogs in the house. And my wife came home and she couldn't get in the house because the dogs, when she put the key in the lock, was scratching at the door. So my wife is about 5 feet or so tall, and I'm probably get in trouble for that. But the dog, she couldn't get in the house. So we eventually, she called me and I said, well, the dog's in the house, blah, blah, blah. So she was a little frustrated. You know, she's very respectful. And so when I came, she pulled me to the side because she didn't want to kind of get at me in front of, you know, company face. But Earl, you know, in his way, he sat there and kind of listened and wouldn't turn away. So he heard us kind of exchange some conversation. So he just kind of took a dislike or felt like she was mean. But he loved her because he knew her through her music. And she's real sweet and nice in the music, which my wife is very sweet and nice. But it's because of me. It was me that caused this issue. And but they eventually made up in the house a little bit. She was very, very hospitable to him. In fact, she even loaned him some of her DVDs, and you know, so they connected like brothers. And he ended up spending the night at my apartment. He and Desiree slept right there on the couch. That's how humble they are, and right there inside the house. And so later on, though, it was always be when he would call me, he'd say, "Where that mean wife of yours at?" So he referred her to as the mean wife. So one day I was up at his house in New York, and he was like, "Brother, where your wife at? Have her come up." So he flew her in, and they hugged and loved on each other, and they went through that whole conversation, and they made up, man. But I'm leaving out some of the details. I'm sure one day you got to get that story from my wife, but you know, that was a awkward situation right there.
Yeah, no, man. Hey, I know it was. You know, I know it was. So we got another question from someone, Brandon Bowers. He said, "Did they apologize for carrying X casket like that in cemetery?"
What it was I was very offended by that because we had armor bearers out there that could have grabbed it and did it respectfully. But what they told us was, I guess in New York, because of insurance, you know, you have a lot of divots and graves and so forth that's in the grass. And they said if anybody would have tripped up, that would have been a lawsuit against the funeral home. I don't know if that's true or not, you know, but that's what they told us. That's what they told us. So we went ahead and, you know, went through with it. We didn't want to disrespect that. And, you know, but I think they could have did it with a little more respect. Maybe they should have had a few more people because if you saw the video, you could see they kind of had it tilted and all that. So that wasn't a good look, but hey, you know, we got it done.
Yes, sir. Well, that's all that matters is that it got done. You know,
and just I don't want to leave out with this. And I think we honored him in a great way after all that. If you guys go back and watch that graveside video, I don't know if you can put it up on Culture or not, but I'll throw it up on my Facebook. But if you go back and watch the end of that, us three, Pastor Lorna, Pastor King, myself, we ended up doing a altar call around his casket, and quite a few people gave their life to the Lord, and that's what Earl was all about. So I think we honored him in a great way that day, and that whole weekend ended the way he would have wanted it to end. So I think that was a beautiful thing in itself.
wow, wow. And I could tell that was very, very good.
Yes.
You know, so and Eugenia also asked. She said, "How is his ex-wife doing?"
Oh, Tashira, she's grieving as well. Shouts out to Tashira, man. She, as you guys saw, she comforted Desiree, and man, they have a great friendship, as well as a lot of the other children's mothers. I guess I always get that confused. I'm from the hood. I'm so used to saying baby mamas, but you know, a lot of them have, you know, pretty good relationships, and they just cuddled each other and helped each other through this grieving process. But Tashira, she of course she has a lot of history with him. She loved him, you know, and the kids and so forth. And so I have kept in contact with her during that time. I hadn't talked to her since I've been home. I've just been kind of going through my process and getting reacclimated to home and stuff like that. But Tashira, as best I can tell, she's doing well. So y'all please reach out to her, tell her how much you love her and supporting her. And she's a God-fearing woman as well. So we're all leaning on God for that comfort, man, definitely. If you're talking to me, I think you got a little shortage or something. I can't hear you anymore.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now I was just saying that I hope each and every last one of you all make it through,
Yes.
and find that peace and comfort that is needed to really maintain and make it through. So, Prophet, man, I appreciate you. Tonight has been phenomenal, brother. Let's stay in touch. We'll be in touch. You know, we'll kind of be talking a little bit about some other things coming up.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you for tuning in and being accessible tonight for this. And, you know, I'm sure that all of those watching and people that will watch will be able to learn some new things and just know who Earl Simmons DMX was as a person, as a father, as a fiancé, as a lover of Christ, as a God-fearing person, as an overall person. So we appreciate you.
And congratulations on your up and coming. I don't know if I'm letting the news out early, but congratulations.
No, yes, sir. Appreciate it. We're getting married in Jamaica, May 7th of 2022. So,
hey, I'll be the best man if you fly me out, put me up good in Jamaica. Just let me know, man.
Yes, sir. I sure will.
And I appreciate you, man, and you lending your platform. Shouts out to Culture TV and all that you're doing. And God bless your hands and everything that you're doing, brother. I thank you for being the man of God that you've shown to be. And, you know, a lot of times, I'm not afraid to say this, people look at people in different lights, but I think there's a legacy behind you as well that people need to know and know and with you. We've already agreed to work together on some things, and we've talked about a lot of deep things, you and I as well. And I appreciate the conversations that we've had, and you being a God-fearing man, a man of forgiveness and love as well. And I'll just leave it at that. And I just want to say that I love you and that I'm supporting you, brother. And thank you so much. And I thank God for what you're doing.
Yes, sir. I love you too, man. And same words apply. Yes. So, you know, we'll be in touch, but appreciate you, Big Prophet. Everybody, please get in tune with Big Prophet. You can follow him on Instagram, The Real Big Prophet. Also, Positive Music Movement. That is his thing. .org. Okay, positivemusicmovement.org. That's where you can find his latest CDs. And I think you may have something coming out pretty soon.
Before and After the Resurrection, the same title that's Earl's sermon, The Resurrection. Ironically, Before and After the Resurrection is the album that's out. You can go on positivemusicmovement.org, scroll to it, or it's on Spotify, iTunes. It's everywhere right now. So definitely, I appreciate the love and support. Hey, I got cheered. Stomach, I'm a fat boy, so I got a stomach to feed. So if y'all can support that, definitely, man. And I just thank everybody that has supported me. Please don't let me forget to say this. I was in New York for about a month and a week up there dealing with all of this with Earl. And because of the monetary support of my supporters, keeping me there, and, you know, my wife and everything is what was able to keep me there because of the years. People that supported me over the years that came through and supported me to be there for over a month with hotels and food and stuff like that. And any other thing that you guys may want to support, I'm always doing ministry, happening to fly out and go different places for celebrities. I also want to say this. I know I'm known as a celebrity spiritual advisor, but I'm just me. If you're just an ordinary person, you're a celebrity to me. You're a star to me. Because guess what? Stars hang close to the sun. Not the S-U-N, but the S-O-N. So if anything that you have a question, you need prayer, I'm available for any individual, not just celebrities, but that's just the title that just kind of carries on my name and that people are used to. But I'm here for any and everybody. So if you like to support my ministry, anything, you can cash out Big Prophet #1. That's Big Prophet #1. Thank you so much for your support. God bless y'all. Love you.
I'm sorry. This is Cash App, everybody. Big Prophet 1. So please support Big Prophet and everything that he's doing. Follow him, Charles Bonner, on Facebook. Positivemusicmovement.org is the website. The Real Big Prophet on Instagram, and Big Prophet 1 on Cash App. Big Prophet, sir. Everybody, appreciate you, Big Prophet, and we're going to have more on the Big Prophet and his relationship with DMX, and we will get some of that content up on Culture TV Prophet. So we'll be talking about that. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So that was Big Prophet. Appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. We look forward to so much more from Prophet. It's been an honor to hear just what his relationship with DMX was like. Just to know who DMX was as a person. It's been a pleasure with you all tonight. Follow this on Culture TV. Download the apps on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick devices whenever you're ready. That's all we got tonight, everybody. See you soon. Don't forget, God love you. I love you. Be easy out there. Love on somebody. Tell them you love them. Tell somebody you want to do something nice for them. Just do something nice. You don't even have to tell somebody. Just do something nice, because you never know when your moment or their moment could be their last. Have a good night.
It's the Carlos Shaver Show. You and me will always be tight. Shaver is giving up the day and night. And even when you start acting like a fool, we appreciate you cause it's all for the move. I know that I could always count on you to bring us all the new and latest news. And every day is a black man in this world. You know there's no one we'd rather hear it from. You and me will always be tight. Shaver is giving up the day and night. And even when you start acting like a fool, we appreciate you cause it's all for the move. I know that I could always count on you